Okay, my victim for today's little video chat on Felixstowe Live is a gentleman called Denny. I've known him for donkey's years. He started Felixstowe's own, really internationally known charity back in the year 2000. So he's been running Felixstowe's Basic Life charity for over 20 years. That's a colossal achievement. And first thing to do, Graham, is to say, my goodness, that's been a hard slog, and I know you worked incredibly hard. How do you feel at the end of this 20-year period? You must be chuffed.
Well, it's good because the charity's grown, and as a result of that, we've been able to help more people, which is what it's all about. So the bigger we get, the more we expand and take chances and risks. We don't always get it right, but sometimes we do, and then we can help more people. So it's quite nice to see how it's grown, and all the thanks goes to the staff and the volunteers who give so much time to enable it to happen.
Right. I mean, now at this period in time, we're in a very strange situation, aren't we, with COVID and with the current situation. Really, the whole thing is difficult. What's happening in the world of charity, in as far as you're concerned, in Felixstowe? We know that before the lockdown started, there were already people struggling, really having a hard time back at the beginning of 2020, and now in 2021, we're a year down the line. How are people coping? Your clients, particularly the people you really try and look after.
Well, in the first lockdown from March last year, we closed the shops and turned them into emergency resource centres. So we're able to give out lots and lots of food and essentials, and we kind of like gave our stock away, really. This time around, it's a bit different because people are still able to go out and do shopping. And the major resource we've got for people are our pop-up shops, where we have a partnership with the supermarkets, all the major supermarkets. And as many people know, we operate from 4 or 5 sites per week in Felixstowe, where people can go along and get really good quality food. So that's helping people a lot, the people who can't afford it or don't want to go into supermarkets or major places like that. So we have lots of safety COVID, restrictions at the pop-up shops, but people can go along and they do get their food from there. So I think that's helping a great deal.
Do you think people are, I mean, my general feeling is that people who were suffering before lockdown must be suffering more now, though, really.
Yeah, I think it's a real deep and broad problem. I think with the food insecurity, it was just a deep problem for a few people originally, but with COVID and all the other things that have gone on, it's a broader problem. So it brings in people who wouldn't have been in the food insecurity trap before, people who are working, virtually everybody, really, you and me, everybody is suffering at the moment. And sadly, I think it's going to get worse as we come out of lockdown, because people will then start to try to live again. Some of the bills they've put on hold, or people have been helpful with them, will be stark reality. They've just got to be paid. So we're going to have a long recovery time, but we'll be there as a charity behind the people all the way through, as we have been right from the start of the pandemic.
The big question to ask then, on behalf of really everybody in Felixstowe, is how can we help Basic ourselves? What can we do to help Basic do more to help the more people who are going to have problems, really?
Well, the donations are amazing. We get so many donations, and what we do is it's like a mincer machine, if you like. If you think of that, the stuff goes in the top, we churn it round, and out the bottom comes money, which we can then pass on to help people. And during the lockdown, I'm here at our depot. We've got nearly 1,500 items on eBay. We've got 1,600 books on Amazon, and we're really trying to make money online as much as we can. So we squeeze every penny out of everything we get to help people. And there's been situations recently where we've given grants out to individuals in really, really extreme need, and help with different things that they need so they can have a decent quality of life. But we don't just give money out to anybody who asks. It's got to be a really, really difficult situation, and we'll give them a grant to help them out.
I suppose from the point of view of us people out here who want to support you, we've got stuff to give to you, and books and clothes and stuff. But at the moment, can we do that? Is it possible to get stuff to you, or just not at the moment?
Not at the moment, I'm afraid. It's one of the real frustrating things that we know. You know, I must get at least 10 emails a day saying we've got this. Can we drop it off? And I have to say no. So from our viewpoint, it's so frustrating because we can turn that stuff into money, and we're obviously taking a very big hit at the moment because both of our shops are closed. We haven't got any income, so we, you know, the bills still come in. So we're taking a bit of a hit, but it's okay. Once we get through the other side, it'll be great because we can receive the donations and go from there. And the shop managers, Elliot at Felixstowe and Becky at Walton, are just desperate to open up again. So what we've done in the meantime is lots and lots of online stuff, loads of stuff online, and the shops are really cleaned up and, you know, tidy. The stock's been gone through, and we've really made it as lean as we can, ready for the onslaught of donations once they come.
So you're ready for when the lockdown lifts, you'll be straight into action, really.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, the first minute it's open.
Now there's another question I want to ask you, and I know this isn't your area of kind of specific expertise, but we know that there are in our country, if you like, a lot of people who are homeless. There are people who've been made homeless effectively by COVID because of things like problems with their rental housing and stuff. And I think that's going to continue, perhaps might get worse. What do you see about homelessness or lack of a proper place to live as you see it from your perspective? Because you do know, I think, more about, honestly, people suffering than most of us do.
Well, there's a big difference between places like Ipswich, where we opened up at 6 sites across there. And let me just say at this point, none of the food or anything that is used for Felixstowe is affected by us opening in Ipswich and Debenham, where we opened a couple of weeks ago. We made absolutely sure that Felixstowe gets actually a bit more than it did previously, so there's no contradiction there. But the interesting thing is, Ipswich, you do have people who are actually homeless on the streets, you know, really, really suffering. Thankfully, in Felixstowe, we don't really have people who are sleeping on the streets. What we have is people who are sofa surfing or in temporary accommodation, and they are the people who we're trying to help to get on with their lives and hopefully find a more permanent home. So the needs in Felixstowe are there, but thanks to people like us and the Salvation Army and all the other different groups, we've managed to keep it a lot better than it is in major towns. So it is a problem. I think the pop-up shops help because some of those people who might be sofa surfing, if they can go in with a bag of food that's of significant value as their contribution, then that helps with the household, especially for, you know, older teenagers who would ordinarily go out and find their own place, but now they're stuck at home, and that sort of situation. So we're just trying to help people as we can to keep in their homes and have a reasonable standard of living. We have given out a few grants in the last year or so to people who had to pay their rent and were really, really struggling, and the landlords weren't maybe as lenient as they could be. And I think that's something that may come up in the future. So we'll look out for that.
Excellent, Graham. Now, I just want to take literally 1 minute more and say, on behalf, I think, of almost everybody who lives here, really, thank you very much for what you do. And thank you to the people who work there and the people who volunteer there for what they do, because I know that you've got a huge body of people behind you, really, haven't you? Doing the work, opening the shops, actually looking after people's interest in real terms. So I want to say thank you for that. And I want to give you a little opportunity, in addition to what you've said, to maybe say something to the whole population. We get on these videos probably between 2,000 and 5,000 viewers. So think about those people in Felixstowe, mostly in Felixstowe, some in other places. Have you got a little kind of message from Basic Life? Because we know how important your charity is. And I just want to get you to say something to the people and tell them what you think.
Okay, you put me on the spot there. I think we're all experiencing something which is unprecedented. We've never had anything like this happen before, and I think the Felixstowe people and community have really worked magnificently together. There's so many good things going on. And now with the vaccinations that they're going through record numbers. And the one thing to remember, I think, for everybody is it will get better. And if you're feeling really down or desperate or depressed at the moment, well, we all are. Everybody is. It's a shared experience. And as a community, we're sharing this and we will get through it, and we'll get through it together. So anybody who's feeling a bit desperate or down, we're there, and we're all going to stay here and work together. And Felixstowe will come out even more magnificent than it was before. We're just going to be a wonderful community. Everybody cares about everybody, and we can show other towns this is how you do it. This is how Felixstowe works. Here we are.
That's fantastic, Graham. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to join us this morning.
Right.
We'll bring you more from Graham when he has something exciting to tell us in the future. And in the meantime, thank you so much for appearing on the show, and we'll see you soon, Graham.
Thank you.